Then I gotta add myself. Oh, okay. Sorry, things look a little different because I'm actually not at home. I am at the beach. But of course, I was still gonna go live because that's just what we do. Now, a couple of weeks ago, well, not a couple of weeks, if unless there's some sort of connectivity problem, if I'm out of town, then I'm gonna be going live. And the times I've not gone live when I'm out of town is because I didn't even see all these comments. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. Um because there's some sort of connectivity issue. And the light in here is kind of flickering, so no, it's not you. It really is. I don't know. It must be a short in the lamp or something, but we gotta work with what we have, and I did not bring my ring light. So okay, so this is good. All right, so for those of you that are on the newsletter, y'all are probably confused because me and Janice were supposed to talk about relationship patterns, which we'll still do. We're just going to do it in September. And there are a couple reasons that I decided to change that. One is because a lot, myself included, a lot of people have been experiencing losses, like sudden losses. Like I know of at least 6 people who have passed away in the past in the past 2 weeks, and it wasn't COVID related. Not saying that people aren't dying from COVID, because they still very much really are, but I'm just saying on top of that, these people were not COVID related deaths. So it's a lot of people losing people. It's a lot of grief happening. And so yeah, so I was like, I think I need to do my due diligence and really talk about it and make a space for it. And so I'm going to make a space. First, I'm going to make a space for Brian, Free Voice Porter, because he and I weren't directly super close, but he and I were very close to Blue G. So, of course, we crossed paths frequently, and we did have, we could talk to each other comfortably. So I do want to provide space for him because that caught me off guard. That caught Blue G off guard, and a lot of other people I know that really loved and knew him off guard. So I do want to, just kind of provide space for him and his friends and family, because that was really heartbreaking and very, very sad. So yeah, so y'all just, condolences their way, and just, wishing peace on people as much as they're able to handle it, as much as they're able to take it in. So I wanted to talk about grief and provide a space for grief, because a lot of people have lost someone close to directly towards them or indirectly towards them. And then even the people, like, even if it was not your direct loss, but it was somebody you love that lost somebody, it still is vicariously your loss. So a lot of people, okay, are losing people. I did want to say, and this has happened a few weeks ago now, that my mother actually passed. She passed on August 8th. And I actually found her. She was luckily at my house, so that was great. But she did pass. I've had a lot of therapy, so that's why I'm able to talk about it. I had some EMDR therapy for it, which was very, very helpful. And I have regular therapy, and I have massage therapy, by Tyra B, and she does an amazing job with deep tissue neuromuscular massages. Oh my gosh, it gets all, because trauma is trapped in your physical body too. So a good pairing of massage therapy and psychotherapy is a really good idea, especially for trauma, especially for anxiety and depression, things like that. And I'm going to have a surprise for y'all about that. Yellowbird is innovating to help you guys. So if you want to know details about that, you definitely want to get on the newsletter, because we got some real goodness, Yellowbird spa level stuff coming up. But yeah, so I'm able to talk about it. I was a little anxious to say anything before the live, but I'm like, no, my brand and my practice is kind of built on being authentic and genuine. And so if I didn't tell y'all that my mom had passed, I would feel kind of fake. So yeah, so I thought y'all should know. But I wanted to tell y'all when I could tell y'all, you know what I'm saying? It took me, I had to process it because, just to give you a little backstory, because y'all did not know this either, she had got diagnosed in November with pancreatic cancer. But she was, for those of you that know anything about cancer medicine or anything like that, y'all know that that's like one of the top 3 most deadly types of cancers. And the majority of the reason that it's so deadly is because it's detected so late. Like only 30% of the people that it's detected in even have a shot at surgery. Okay, so just to put things into perspective for you. So not only was my mom's tumor operable, she did super well on chemo. She was doing really, really well with that. She had like 1 month where it was like difficult for her, it wore on her, but every other time she, was doing really well. We got some special medicine for her that really, really helped. If you want to look it up, it's called Rick Simpson oil. Just look that up. Just Rick Simpson oil. BuyRickSimpsonOil.com is the website. BuyRickSimpsonOil.com. But it helped. It killed her cancer cells on top of the chemo. Of course, it was coupled with, but her tumor was operable. They removed it after her surgery. She had no non-malignancy, no cancer cells left. She was cancer free. And so she was going to just continue to take the oil so the cancer didn't come back. But there weren't any cells. The reason that cancer comes back is because there are microscopic cancer cells that were undetected and not scannable. And so then they evolve and come back, and it comes back. But she didn't have any. They checked all her lymph nodes. They checked the neck of her pancreas because she had what's called a distal pancreatectomy. So that basically just means they removed the tail of her pancreas. People that have what's known as a Whipple, that's where they remove the head of the pancreas, which is super more risky because it's connected to the liver and the stomach, and they have to detach all that, remove the cancer, and then reattach it. And there's no guarantee that y'all know, pancreatic cancer is very, very common. A lot of my clients' parents have had it and passed from it. So it's super common, but very deadly. So I say all that to say she died cancer free. So I am proud of that because I worked really, really hard to help her achieve that goal. But because of her mental illness, the recovery process was very, very hard for her. The recovery from the surgery was hard. It wasn't going as breezy as probably she expected for it to go because everything else had gone so breezy. She checked every box. So she ended up not moving around a lot like I had told her. And she ended up getting a blood clot, which caused pulmonary embolism. And that's how she passed. So, but yeah. So anyways, just to give y'all the long and short of that. And so, yeah. That was better than I thought. And see, that's why we all need therapy, because there is no way without therapy I would have been able to process it as fast as I have and feel relief as quickly as I have. And because I've been in therapy, I've been able to process losses a lot faster. And everybody's grief process is their own, and everybody's grief process is not the same. But I definitely know with therapy, the grief process is a whole lot easier than if you don't. go. So with that being said, because there have been so many losses, I wanted to explain to y'all maybe what you could be feeling and where you could be at in your grief process. And I wanted to validate you in it. And I wanted to educate you in it so that you don't feel as though you're losing it. Okay? Because grief is very complicated, very messy. It's not cut and dry. And so sometimes you can feel like you're losing it and that you go back between so many emotions. And I want y'all to understand that that is normal. Okay. Everybody thinks, we all have this perfect idea of what grief should look like. And we think you should just be crying in the floor all the time, which there is a space in grief for that, for the people that is their process, but everybody's grief does not look like that. Everybody's grief does not look like crying and just being sad. There are actually different types of grief, and I'm going to explain those to y'all. I'm sitting in the bed, and so I'm sorry. I got to put my legs out. All right. Can y'all still see me? Okay, good. All right. So I got my notes. This is like super I'm not glitz and glammy at all. Y'all know that. I'm very, very, very low maintenance. However, this is super hood. What I got going on here. This is hood. I got the pillows, everything. All right. So first I want to talk about y'all have heard about the stages of grief, right? Y'all have heard about and even if y'all didn't know that, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is who came up with that. Yeah, she did. She's the one. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is kind of the originator of the stages of grief. Now, one of my professors told me that she didn't write it for those of us who are grieving. She wrote it for the person that's actually dying. But I think it can be for both. Okay, it can be for both. All right, whether that was her intent or not, it's still very much the same for the people that have actually experienced the loss and not just the person who's actually passing. Because it could be sudden, like many of these deaths that I've witnessed that have happened to people of varying ages and varying life situations. But a lot of them were healthy or, becoming healthy. And then they just, passed for sudden reasons. And so, and my mom, like I said, she did not pass from cancer, thank God, because I put a lot of work in that. And for those of y'all that have followed me for any period of time, you knew me and my mom were not close. We didn't have the typical mother-daughter relationship. But because of my Enneagram type, I'm a 2, heavy wing 3, heavy wing 1. I just, I just helped. I helped. And I knew that I could detach, like my mom, she didn't have any effect on my emotions either. So like, I was just like, I can help her because she's not gonna, and as soon as she starts to wear on me, then I won't be able to help anymore. I just won't. I won't be able to help her. Somebody else will have to do it because my mental health comes first. So yeah. Like, I just knew I was in a space where it wasn't going to affect my mental health. And so I was like, okay, cool, whatever. But anyways, it was sudden because that was not her trajectory. Like, her prognosis was good. You know what I'm saying? But her own mental got in the way of her recovery. And so she wouldn't do what she was supposed to do, ended up getting a pulmonary embolism because she was not pushing herself. And I couldn't make her, because that's a boundary of mine. I can't make nobody do nothing. Okay, I can't make anyone do anything. So when she wasn't doing what she knew she was supposed to, I had to hands off it. I had to hands off because I was not going to stress myself out trying to talk her into doing what she knew she needed to do as an adult person that values their life. But I had, I have some clues that let me know that that's probably, she may have been ready or she may have been aware. So anyways, I don't want to trail too far off into that, but you guys know now, and I'm glad I told you. But yeah, so the stages of grief can also be for the person that have actually lost. And so those stages are denial. Like maybe you're in denial that it's happening. You're in denial about how bad it is. You're just in denial about what's coming. You can be angry, and a lot of people are angry at God. They may be angry at the person who's dying. Maybe they're mad at their self, but that's normal, any of it. For whatever reason that you're angry, and whoever you're angry at, including the person that has passed or is on, passing, that does not make you a bad person. It makes you a human. It just makes you a normal human. It's part of the grief process, okay? And if you haven't experienced that, but you've experienced any of these other ones, it's still part. It's not a linear thing, okay? It's not linear. It's not like, okay, I lost somebody. I'm going to be in denial. I'm going to then be angry. Then I'm going to start bargaining. Then I'm going to be depressed. Then I'm going to accept it. That's not how it works. These are just the possible places that you could be at in grief, and all of these are inclusive. Okay, so you can be in denial, you could be angry, bargaining. I know I kind of did that. Now that I think back over it, before my mom passed, I was like, please God, don't let anything happen to my mom, because I cannot deal with that level of stress. Which he's like, haha, yes you can, because she did pass, and it's not at all what I thought it was going to be like, for the better. But I had been preparing myself as well, kind of in the back of my mind, just because, things are tricky with cancer and recovery, and it's just, stuff gets tricky, especially with major operations. And I know deep down, my mom, I know she was always a fighter. Anybody will tell you that. But the recovery, that was always difficult for her too. So it lines up. But anyway, so bargaining, and I was just like, God, please, because I can't handle that level of stress. Like, I'm going to have to be the one to tell everybody, blah, 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 which I actually have gotten way more help and support from my family than I thought. So I do appreciate that. My brother came, one of my older brothers, and then my dad came, and he stayed with me for like 2 weeks. So like, I've been taken care of. I'm okay. Depression is a possible about it. And then, of course, the acceptance comes. And that's everybody's favorite part. You want to be at the point where you accept it, but sometimes that takes a minute. And there is no, timeline for it. And everybody's not the same. But I do definitely know that therapy helps. So I am definitely saying, at the very least, do yourself a favor to get in therapy, because it is helpful for that process. Will it heal everything? No. But will it help everything? Yes. So, if, just kind of weigh what you got there. And I can say that. And two, I'll just be transparent and say, as far as what I'm passionate about, which is doing therapy for people, it's a lifestyle for me. I just felt kind of like I couldn't really speak to grief much. Before Hove died, I couldn't really speak to grief much, because my grandmother passed, who I really loved, but I hadn't seen her in years. Like, when she passed, I was 12, and probably the last time I saw her, I might have been 8 or something. And I didn't really, so even though I really loved her, I hadn't seen her. And it still did hurt my feelings. But then when Hove passed, I was like, yeah, somebody else that, and I was like, it's probably going to be one of my parents. And so I was, I just knew that Hove passing was, and the way I had to take care of Hove to keep him alive as long as I did, I had to do some, I was being prepared for something. It was obvious to me. So anyways, there's the acceptance part, but definitely I'm just saying all that to say, please do get in therapy, because grief without it is way harder. You don't want to make it any harder than what it already is. This light, oh my gosh. Okay. So now I want to talk about, there are 8 different types of grief, and this is going to bring you relief, because again, everybody's grief is not this traditional way we think you should grieve. There's no right way to grieve. There's just a healthy way to grieve, but there's no right way to grieve. There's no way it should look like. We just want to make sure that you're safe. You don't feel as though you want to harm yourself or harm anybody else, and you can function. You can do what you still need to do. So if you can do those 2 things, then your grief outside of that can look like anything, and you can have any emotions about it. But here's the 8 main types. Okay. So there is anticipatory grief. And that's what I was telling y'all about, when I started anticipating Hove, and I had an anticipation for my mom too. And people start to feel guilty in this particular stage of grief, because they feel guilty about the relief after the passing actually happens. And I've had clients with anticipatory grief, and they've told me that, they felt guilty about being relieved. And I'm like, no, that's totally normal. That is totally normal given the circumstance, because you don't want to see your loved one suffering. So to feel relief when they pass doesn't mean you wanted them to go. It just means that they're not suffering anymore. So, and people, they don't know that. But then the other part of it is guilt, they haven't passed yet. So you feel guilty about preparing yourself for them to pass, which, again, listen, human beings, and we are self preservating beings and species. So our mind is going to always go to preservation. We are built to preserve. That's why we have a parasympathetic nervous system, because we got to preserve ourselves, okay, or a sympathetic nervous system. But then we also have a parasympathetic nervous system to calm us back down. But we have that fight or flight, because that's our innate thing. So to face something before it actually happens is one way of preservation. It just makes you human, but people feel guilty about it because they feel as though it means they lost hope or they've given up. No, that's not what that means, but it just means, you're preparing yourself ahead of time so you're not as caught off guard. And then there's common grief. So with that, people, they continue their normal routine. So that one was me, because I experienced anticipatory grief. After both my mom and Hove passed, I went right back to work. Because I needed to work. I needed to help people. I needed to, see hope happen. And my clients are very, very their healing journeys are miraculous. And I attribute that more to them being miraculous people than me being a miraculous therapist. But they heal, and they're on this accelerated healing journey. I never seen anything like it. I told my therapist, I was like, I just want to be as great as my clients, because they are some hard workers. My clients work. They want their mental health, and they definitely achieve it at an accelerated rate. And I am proud of all of them. Very, very proud of all of them. And so, all of them, practice-wide, not even just my personal ones, but when I talk to my other therapists about their clients are accelerated as well. And I'm like, would like to think I had a little to do with it, but majority of it is them, and I always tell them that. Just their commitment to it. But common grief, you just go back to your normal routine. Some people need to take off, and that is fine. And some people, it's better for them to continue doing what they're doing to achieve that sense of normalcy, because you need to return back to that sense of normalcy. But again, it's different for everyone. But don't feel guilty if you've gone back to work and people tell you shouldn't. As long as you and your therapist know what's going on and you and your therapist track it, can't nobody tell you if you should work or not. There's no should. Again, grief looks different for everybody. And then there's complicated grief, which is really debilitating. This is where you really need, we don't want your grief to be complicated, because that means you're not able to function, and no one likes that. So definitely, if you're experiencing complicated grief where you can't get out of bed, you can't eat, you can't do your routine, you can't go to work, definitely, please call us. Definitely call us, because we don't want that to be your situation. While everybody's grief is different and everybody has a right to their type of grief, like I said in the beginning, if you cannot function or if you are harming yourself or others, then that we want to move you through that type of grief fast, okay? And we can do that. And I have a specific type of therapy for that, EMDR. You can do that for complicated grief. I actually did it for me too, because I didn't know what I was going to experience, and I knew I just taking off didn't feel right to me because several reasons. It didn't feel like that was what I should do. So there's complicated grief, which is debilitating. We don't want that for you. So definitely, if you're experiencing that, please call us. Delayed grief. So this kind of grief causes anxiety. It kind of even makes me anxious too, because it comes way after the death has actually happened. It could come months later. And so you really do want to get with your therapist and be upfront about that. And I've had clients that have experienced delayed grief, and it's cool. I just kind of tell them in the beginning, this is possible. Hey, it's okay if we're taking everything one day at a time, because if you know every day could possibly look different, it kind of helps you. And if you don't, and if you really just processed it and it was processed, that's cool. But sometimes it could be delayed. And so one thing you don't want to do is just wait and see. You want to go to your therapist so your therapist can help you prepare for it. If it is delayed, you'll be able to be prepared. So in inhibited grief, it's kind of like where you don't want to say that it happened. I actually thought this would be the kind of grief that I would experience, but I figure with Hove passing that's probably not the type. But inhibited grief is you avoid it. You don't want to deal with it. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to acknowledge it. So that's that. And we don't really want you to stay in that space too long either, because that could lead to the last one, which is exaggerated grief, and that affects your functionality and could lead to a depressive episode. So we don't want you to stay there too long or in exaggerated grief too long. There is disenfranchised grief. Now, disenfranchised grief is where this is something you're grieving about that other people may not understand that you're grieving about that, okay? A breakup from somebody who's toxic, that is still a grief process, okay? Losing a pet is a grief process. Maybe losing your favorite designer bag, that's a grief process. But other people might not think that that's something you should be grieving, so that's why they would label it disenfranchised. Disenfranchised is not. People just think grief is when someone passes, but no, there's grief for the loss of other things that might not have passed away, which they left off ambiguous loss, which is a type of grief where you're like grieving somebody that's still living and around, but you know you just can't or don't have a relationship with them. And then there is inhibited grief also has a more like also more severe form. It's called absent grief. There is like you're in total avoidance or denial. Like they gave an example, there was this 80-year-old lady who had lost her son like 30 years ago, and like to date she did to whatever that date was. She hadn't accepted it. She was not accepting that her son had passed. And so that is very absent grief, and we don't want that for you either, because we don't want to hit you all at once. So yeah, so those are different types of grief, different stages of grief. And again, I just really wanted y'all to know that no, Tiffany, I'm glad you asked that. That is not wrong that you haven't cried about it yet. And I hope that, I know you asked that much, much earlier, but hopefully I explained that. I'm so sorry to hear that, Tiffany. Yeah, so definitely give us a call if you want, if you know, because we can help you. We don't want you just to be hanging on by a thread, because grief is difficult, and it's definitely something you shouldn't handle by yourself. Yes, definitely. Thank you, Lakira. She said, Tiffany, just take it a day at a time. And that is the best advice you can give anybody. If you don't know what to say, just tell them to take it one day at a time. Okay? If you feel like you don't know what to say, take it one day at a time. It's always good. It takes the pressure off of somebody to feel they need to get to a certain point. Yeah, definitely give us a call, Tiffany. And Lakira, she says, easier said than done, because that's not an easy loss. That's not an easy loss to take. Sometimes you just have to have a breakdown. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep, judgment-free zone, exactly. It's definitely not. Sometimes it takes time. Yeah, grief is very hard and complex, Natasha. Do I accept? I accept Cigna. But just give me a call, okay? So we can kind of talk in more detail, okay? Yeah. If you live in Alabama, because y'all are super duper smart, and it makes sense, right? That because I'm virtual, I should be able to take anybody in any state. Well, no, I still can only take Alabama residents. So, but I am getting licensed in other states. I'm working on that in the fall. So it's coming, okay? And other goodies are coming. Like I said, some massage opportunity goodies are coming. So just let me get some stuff straight. But so yeah, we'll do. I mean, okay, cool. Yeah, please give us a call. Or an email, whichever one. You can go to yellowbirdcounseling.com and everything is there. So yeah, it's all one word, yellowbirdcounseling.com. Okay. But do y'all have any questions or anything you want to share? I was actually supposed to do a grief group last week, and I'm going to offer it again probably in October, because a lot of people were interested. They just weren't ready, which I totally get. It took me 3 weeks to tell y'all, and I've done 2 other lives since then. I did a live the Thursday after my mom passed, and she had passed that Sunday. She had passed that Sunday, and I found her Monday. So, yeah. So, yeah. So I get it. It takes time. It takes time. And it may even take people more time than that. And that's okay. So, but I am going to provide the space again because I have clients that are ready, because they've been in it. They've been in therapy. And so they're kind of just ready to do a group thing. And so, yeah. So I am going to do it again in October. I just got to check out the football schedule because I know how we get when it's football season. So I got to just make sure I do it when there's not a major game going on. Okay? Because that is, people need to, Alabama football is big and that's therapeutic for some people. So they may rather do that as a form of therapeutic processing, which I'm totally cool with. I get it. I've lived here long enough. So yeah. But I actually feel better that I told y'all. It was a major weight because I was like, I feel like I'm hiding something. I don't like that. I always want y'all to know where I stand on things, and I always want to be genuine and authentic, and I don't ever want to hide anything or not speak on anything or not acknowledge anything that I should. Shoot, me and Bridget still got the critical race theory white guilt group happening this week for white people that want to know how to help and be different. We got that group for y'all, and Bridget's actually leading it because she's white, and I feel like it should come from a white person. I'm just there to co-facilitate, like in the back end, like if there's a chat or something, but I'm not even going to be talking because I shouldn't have to. And that's why Bridget, and those are the only type of white people that we can hire, is ones that are aware of their self, can be relatable, because most of my clients are African American. So I can't have white people working for me that aren't aware of themselves. And Bridget is. She's trying very diligently. She's learning, and she's open to it, and she's open to addressing it with other white people. And that is the kind of white people I rocks with. Okay. So, and that work at Yellowbird, because, I can't offer you a white therapist who's going to re-traumatize my Black clients. We're not doing that over here. So, yeah. But yeah. So she's gonna be doing that this weekend. She's gonna be doing white fragility, white guilt, explaining microaggressions, implicit bias to other white people. She's gonna explain what white privilege is, because a lot of white people think white privilege means you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth. No, that is not what it is at all. Okay? That's just plain privilege. That's not white privilege. Okay? But the fact that you think that that's what it is shows that you have white privilege. So, but anyways, I'm not gonna be the one speaking on it. It's gonna be Bridget. Yeah, but what y'all got for me? And yes, the people in the newsletter, if you know, you know. Yes, I will still be doing if you know, you know. Okay. If you in the newsletter, you know. Then that's all I'm going to say. If you're not in the newsletter, you don't know, and you have missed an opportunity. That's all I'm going to say. So you should really get on the newsletter if you don't want to miss any more opportunities. Okay. And yeah, if y'all know somebody that's experiencing grief, please share this live. Or somebody who it could help, because like, it's hard to talk about it. And so I just want people to be encouraged, and I want people to know they have somewhere that they could go if they need to talk. Okay. And they have somebody that gets it. But yeah. Okay. So if you could do that. And if y'all have any questions, please let me know what they are. Shoot, let me turn this off because I'm just like typing. Hey, Instagram, what y'all got? Oh, I'm praying for you. Thank you. Thanks. Cute nails. Thank you. Will I get a license in New Jersey? Maybe. It's a lot that goes with it, y'all. And I got to be very intentional about how I move. Meaning I can't be haphazard and I don't like doing things halfway. So there is a method to my madness, and I just can't, And I'm more of the tortoise, not the hare. I'm more of the tortoise. But yeah. So, but definitely share this live if you know somebody that has experienced grief, or if you're experiencing grief. Okay, because it'll be helpful. For them. Okay. And some people, you just share it even if you don't directly know somebody, because a lot of people are experiencing grief that you won't know about. Okay. And they may need to hear someone else talk about it. Okay. From a place of knowing. So please share this live, help someone. Each one teach one. Okay. And if you are a white person that wants to know your place in your space, please come to Bridget's group. It's on the Yellowbird Counseling Facebook page. Please do register and join the group this Saturday, where Bridget will be leading, and she will be educating other white people on what is white privilege, what is implicit bias, what is microaggressions, what is all of that y'all say, I'm not racist. If you say, I'm not racist, then you should come. And you'll understand why. Tiffany said, my husband screams out, not at me, but just out. He is hurting and says he's not the same and not sure how to let go. Yeah. I'm so sorry to hear that. I really am. I really, really am. Like I said, my grief is not as immense as a lot of people's grief for several reasons. Again, so I can't even imagine. I cannot imagine, and I'm so sorry. I really am. And my thoughts and condolences really do go to you and your family. It really, because, that's hard. That's hard. So yes, I'm sorry. How do you join the group? If you're talking about the critical race theory group and the white guilt group, it's on the if you go on the Yellowbird Counseling Facebook page, it is under events, and you can do it there. You can do it there. Yes. It's under events, and you can do it there. So, yeah. But yeah, do y'all have any other questions, or if you want to share? If y'all want to ask me questions about my grief, you can. What am I experiencing? I've had a lot of therapy in the past few weeks. So you can. Yeah, it hits in waves. It really does hit in waves. And this is going to sound really, really weird to say, but as far as my people that have experienced grief, like the loss of a parent, I feel more equipped to work with them now. I wasn't doing a bad job before, I don't think, but I'm going to be doing a way better job now because I'm from a place of knowing. So pretty much at this point, most of what anybody has gone through, I've had the pleasure of experiencing it firsthand. Trauma is real, and it is big, and it is a lot, and you really do need to know you're talking to somebody that knows from just a personal place. The cure says mine does too, and it's been almost 7 years. Yes. And you know what, y'all, with the time, there's no time. 7 years could feel like it just happened yesterday. It really could. It really could. So thank you, Tiffany. But yes, it really could. And that is okay as the different types of grief that I've expressed to y'all, because there's so many types of grief, and then within that grief there's so many stages of grief, and within those stages there's so many frequencies and links of it, and then under that there's so many reasons why. Okay. And so it's just so complicated and messy. So one day at a time is how we handle it, but we handle it very therapeutically. But we do definitely handle it one day at a time. You have to. Okay? You have to. So if you don't do anything else for yourself, and you're not ready to do anything else for yourself, this is the only thing I am going to urge you to do. I am going to urge you to reach out to a therapist, and I am going to urge you to take it one day at a time. Those are the only two things. Those are the only two things. Anything else up for grabs, okay? In your own time. So. And Blue G, I think, what is this? The link for, I don't know. Oh, okay. This must be the link for a group. So Blue G, just that last comment down there, the Yellowbird Counseling, Blue G posted, so y'all could click that link. Okay. So you can click that. Any questions? What frequencies are mine? Keep this up. I will look to hear more, but I have to go now. Okay. What frequencies are mine? That's kind of hard for me to answer. So, because again, I've had a lot of therapy, and so that's kind of hard, and it is still kind of new. So I really don't have a pattern yet. I'm just taking it one day at a time. That's the frequency, one day at a time. Okay. But yeah. But like, seriously, I've been doing a combination of, I have 3 therapists, okay? I have one for my EMDR sessions. I have one for my regular therapy. That's my Black therapist. And then my massage therapist, Tyra B, who's also Black. And she does I do my regular therapy, talk therapy, weekly. I'm doing my EMDR probably bi-weekly. I'm doing my massage therapy bi-weekly. So I am good to go, honey. I'm good to go. I am good to go. Like, you got to do that. You know, I was like, okay, recovery, healing. Because that is it. I did get the fight from my mom. I got the fight from my mom, but I got the recovery part from my dad. He knows, he does what it takes to recover. So I'm like, okay, fight, but then recover. And so now I'm like recovering, which are like, okay, emotion comes, feel the emotion, allow space for the emotion. Don't avoid the emotion. Don't stuff the emotion. Like, I process it, and I know how to process it because I've been in therapy. Not even just because I'm a therapist, but because I've been in my own therapy, and I am in my own therapy, so I can process. So I can be as great as all my clients. Oh my God, y'all, seriously, all my clients are fabulous. Like, I tell my therapist every week, I'm like, I just want to be as great as my clients. I just want to be as progressive as my clients. I just want to be as well adjusted as my clients. We do a lot of hard work, and they are phenomenal people. Like, my clients are phenomenal people. And that's one of the reasons that I started doing groups, because they're so phenomenal that I think, you know, it's hard. There are way more unhealthy people in the world than there are healthy people, and they have trouble finding each other. So I'm like, well, let me do some groups. This is a way that it's not, you know, It's a group. So I'm not exposing anybody's information. It is up to them if they want to come to the group and expose. Some of them come and they don't say I'm their therapist, and that's okay too. That's not the point. The point is for them to be around other people and know that there are other people like them. There are other people that care to take care of themselves, to be in healthy relationships like they do. So yeah. Would I recommend massage therapy for grief? Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, something's coming down the pipeline. Okay? Something is coming down the pipeline where we'll be able to kind of do some therapy, massage therapy for very specific things. And so yes, just give me another second. Give me until the October newsletter, okay? And then I'll let y'all know what it is. Okay? I'll let y'all know. Because y'all know I'm very holistic. I don't think it's just the body. I don't think it's just the mind. And you can experience physical sickness from mental health issues, as I have trained and educated y'all on more than one occasion. So yeah. Part of some of my clients' treatment plans is massage therapy. Like, that's part of it. Like, so I'm not going to expose it yet. If you want to know, you got to get on the newsletter. Bluegie, can you post a link to the newsletter if you are still on here? Could you please post a link so people can do the newsletter if they're not already on it? And if you're a client of mine and you're not on the newsletter, just shoot me a text and I'll shoot you the link. Okay? Or call the office number and you'll get the number to text me. Okay. Yeah. Excuse me. I guess I'm a little parched. Looking for some water. All right. If y'all don't have any, if you know, you know. I forgot about that. So, okay. Yes. Okay. So, Bluegie, can you post a link to the newsletter, please? Let's see. So let me count. We got 1 is Lakira. 2 is Tiffany Lee Ann Harris. So hold on to your numbers. 3 is Natasha. Y'all got to remember your numbers now. 4 is Everyday. And that's it. 4. So there's 4. So I'm going to put it in the number generator. Y'all got to remember your numbers. And I'm going to share my screen. Okay? Google number generator. All right. Let's see. Let me pull it up. Where is it? Okay. Okay. All right, cool. We'll use this one. I just use a random one every time. Let me share my screen. Share screen. Share screen. Share tab. Okay. All right, cool. So here it is right here. Y'all see it over here to the right. So the minimum is 1, obviously, and the maximum is 4. All right, and I'm just going to click generate. I don't know where the number will show up at. 4! 4 is the winner. Who's number 4? Okay. Who is number 4? Who is it? Who is number 4? Because y'all was keeping up with your numbers. Who's number 4? Who is it? Oh, every day. Yay! Okay. So, congratulations. That means you get a $100 cash app. So, and y'all know I said all cash apps during the live. Pay. Let me find your cash app again as you let's see. All right. Let's see. All right. I'm going to put it in SHUN. Uh-oh. That was wrong. UN. Y'all know I got to be real careful because I sent it to... I'm going to keep talking about that. I sent it to the wrong person. I found you. Okay. Congratulations from Yellowbird Counseling. We're so happy that you won your $100 cash app. Yay! So if you're on the newsletter, you will know when I do those rewards and you'll know what to do when you come in, to the live. So if you want to win the next time, you want to be on the newsletter, okay? Yep, you missed it. You got to get in here. But you can watch the replay too. You're welcome. You are so welcome. Absolutely. Did you get it? Let us know that you got it so folks know I'm not capping. Even though y'all should know better than that by now. Cool. That we good? Y'all good? We good? And if you definitely have any questions, please do reach out. Please share this live again if you know. Yay, she got it. Lakira said we know. Y'all should shoot. I'm very consistent. But yeah, if you know anybody that's experienced some sort of loss, whether it's somebody who's passed or any other type of loss, please share this because I think it'll be helpful for them. And yeah, I will see you guys next week.